everyone is doing the best they can, and I thought I would make a little video around foot care. And for those of you who have worked with me before, you know that I love feet. Our feet and our ankles do so many amazing things for us. They carry us around every day, and there's an enormous amount of math they have to figure out as we walk on uneven surfaces, and we put them in restrictive footwear that doesn't allow them to kind of move. There's 33 joints in the feet and ankles, and I know that my overall sense of well-being and steadiness and groundedness increased so much after I started paying more attention to my feet. So I'm just going to show you a really simple routine that I do. Most of these things I do every single day, probably be about 10 minutes, and you'll need, I have a tennis ball. Lacrosse balls work really well too, or those big pink bouncy balls. And if you don't have that, you could totally skip it, and you're probably going to benefit from some of the other things we do. And I have a yoga strap. If you don't have a yoga strap, which I know many people don't have in their house, you can grab a scarf. They tend to work really, really well. Just make sure it's not like a super delicate scarf, because we're going to put it around the bottom of our feet and take our feet up in the air eventually. So you want something that can support you. You can also use a bath towel if you have a big one, like a swim towel. So I would say make sure you have those two things. And again, if you don't have the ball, then you can skip that. So we'll get started by standing. This mat has a little wrinkle in it. It's weird practicing on carpet. I'm not used to it. So just coming into a tall spine, shoulders down away from the ears. Just like an easy way to stand, making sure you have a little bit of softness in your knees, and taking a moment to notice your feet. Maybe rocking forwards and backwards. Maybe rocking forward so far that you come up and the heels come off the ground, pushing into the ball, the big toe. You have a tendency a lot of times to roll out. So seeing if you can find the ball, the big toe, and push down. And then doing the opposite, rolling back to the heels, pulling the toes, maybe even the balls of the toes come off. And then just kind of moving around a little bit. Starting to wake up at the bottoms of the feet, starting to wake up the ankles. And then maybe side to side. So we're gonna come on the edge of one foot and the arch of the other, and switch, and see if you can get them to go in tune with each other. Like what's that called? A metronome. Yeah. So going back and forth. And noticing the outside of your ankles, anywhere you feel this. And then we'll come in circles. So putting, let's see, how do I say this? Putting your weight towards the balls of your feet, and then rocking around in a circle. So you're coming through the edge of your foot to the heel, to the other edge of the foot, and taking it in really slow circles. One way, and then the other. The mat is really bunching up here. Just gonna fix that. And then coming back to a neutral place and spreading your toes wide. Maybe taking a moment and closing the eyes down, and just seeing if your body sways maybe front to back, or maybe does kind of gentle side to side or circles. Again, soften the knees. And just noticing your feet. Can you even out the weight? You always, well, many of us tend to have more weight on one foot naturally. So just trying to see if you can even that out. And from here, grab it onto your little ball. And we'll start, let's start with it underneath the left foot. And I always step the opposite foot, whatever foot's not gonna have the ball on it, I step it back. Toes plant on the ground, and we'll start underneath the heel and just compressing and releasing. So for many of us, this is not going to be too tender. Our heels tend to be pretty tough. And if you have plantar fasciitis, this whole exercise can be pretty tender. So the beauty of it is you decide how much pressure you're putting on, and you know when to back off. You should never be in pain, ever. And then rolling it forward. So you're kind of right behind the arch in the middle of the foot. And then again, compressing and releasing. Yeah. You may start to feel a little bit of sensation here. And then rolling it up and kind of out towards the edge of the foot, like towards the pinky toe side. And again, I'm starting to feel more sensation here. Again, you put as much weight as is appropriate for you. And then rolling it to the arch. So this is where it tends to get pretty tender for most people. So I have my toes down, and I'm just gonna put a little bit of weight. So we say sensation is good. Sometimes it's not comfortable sensation, but we don't want to be in pain. Oh. I have cats running around, two brothers fighting. And then rolling it up so it's right underneath the ball of your big toe. And this time my heel is going to be on the ground. I'm pressing, just kind of like you're pressing a gas pedal. Noticing what you feel. And then rolling it through the middle of the foot, more to the pinky toe side, and same thing. This is Peanut, Penelope Ann. She's my sweet little tabby. And then rolling this forward so it's right on the ball of the big toe. And more weight. And sometimes these balls, especially if you're not on a mat or like a tacky surface, the balls fling out from your feet. So if that happens, no worries. No one can see you. It's just you and I hanging out. And continuing to roll through all the balls of the feet. Over towards the pinky toe side. And again, if you feel a place that feels like interesting, or you're like, oh man, I'm getting like a nice release there, hang out. And I like to go up and down, but sometimes some people just like to kind of put their weight there and let everything soften around it. So you're going to decide what's best for you. And then I like to pull it up between my toes and kind of try to wrap my toes around like I was going to pick the ball up with my toes. I have not been able to do that yet. I have little sausage toes. And making sure you move it over, try to even see if you can find the pinky toe and wrap it around the ball. Nice. And this part always feels really nice. So just kind of rubbing it on the bottom of the foot. A little pressure, a lot of pressure, you decide. And then we'll move over, to the other side. So grabbing your ball again. Again, the foot you just did is going to go a little bit behind. When we start with the ball under the heel. And just pressing down. And then moving on. So drawing right up above the heel, but not quite on the arch. Like half on the heel, half on right before where the arch starts. And then moving up a little bit more and over towards the pinky toe side. And noticing, sometimes I can feel this all the way up into my knee. It's amazing. Yeah, everything's connected. I have a special knee on my left side. I'm just calling the right foot, but this is my left side. So I always then move it over towards the arch, and this is where it starts to get pretty tender. I'm just noticing if it's the same, if it's different than the other side. And then bring it up right behind the ball, the big toe. And this is a place where I always have a lot of sensation. If you've got plantar fasciitis, I'm gonna guess this place is probably pretty tender for you too. So just go easy. More is not necessarily better. And sliding it over, middle, and then towards the pinky toe side. And then bringing the ball up. And running all the balls of feet. Like all the little, all the way over to the pinky. And then try to wrap the toes around it. And you can pick the ball up. Yeah. Bless you. And then coming back and just kind of rubbing the foot against the ball. Anywhere that feels good. Yeah. And then we'll lose the ball. And just find that again. And let's come down to sit. So finding yourself in whatever kind of seat is going to feel comfortable. We're going to start with the left leg, so the right leg can be folded in. You could have it out to the side, really anywhere that you want it to be. This is Mr. Moe's. I'm going to grab my left ankle, like right my left ankle with my left hand, and I take my right fingers and place them between my toes. And depending on what kind of shoes you wear and just your anatomy, this one could be a lot. So try to get your fingers in as close to like the webbing, as close to where the toes meet as possible. And then kind of here, just kind of rotating the ankle around a little bit. And maybe we pull the foot straight, get a little stretch in the top of the foot, and pull it back. Nice. And then switching sides. So grabbing the right foot, right hand to the right ankle, stick the fingers in between the toes. Yeah, it's sausagey fingers too, so. And then rotating around. Yeah, noticing your toes, noticing your ankle, anywhere you feel it. And then pulling the legs straight, stretching over the top of the foot, top of the ankle. You might even feel this in your shin a little bit. And then flexing the heel. And then letting that go and just wiggling the toes a little bit. So adding a tiny bit of self-massage in here. So I like to wrap my hands around the tops of my feet, and my thumbs come right about to the middle, like right in between this one, let me see, this little piggy went to the market. So right between the one that stayed home and the one that had roast beef. And just pressing the thumbs all the way down the midline of your foot. Coming to the heel and giving it a little press. And then just kind of squeezing the feet. Got lots of nerve endings in our feet. And our feet they're similar to our hands, where they can tell us so much about our environment. And we don't give them the chance because we cover them up so often. Just kind of waking up those nerve endings and like that curiosity in the feet. And then grabbing onto your strap or your scarf. And we're gonna come down on our backs. So coming down any way that feels good. If you want, I'm gonna actually use a block under my head. But if you want to grab like a pillow or a blanket for underneath your head, go ahead. And then unraveling the strap of the scarf, and we'll take our left foot into the strap and take the foot all the way up. So I have my knee bent. I'm not really trying to get big stretches anywhere else, although you're probably going to feel it in the back of your leg. And I'll start with the strap right in the arch of the foot, and just kind of giving it a little massage, scooting it all the way up towards the toes and then all the way down towards the heel. And eventually coming to stillness right at the arch. And we use a little bit of strength from our arm to pull back. I would say at maybe about like 25% of your strength. And then rolling the ankle around. So your ankle has a little something to kind of push against. You may feel this in your calf. You may feel it in a lot of different places. You keep a little softness in the knee. And then shimmying the strap up towards the balls of the feet. And again, pulling back and trying to point the toe up towards the ceiling. So top of the foot, shin, side of the leg. And then doing the opposite and flexing the heel up towards the ceiling. Like you could stand on the ceiling. You feel this in right in the back right above the heel, the Achilles tendon area. It's a place that used to get so tight on me when I would go downstairs first thing in the morning. And this has helped tremendously. And slipping that strap off, and we'll repeat it. So second side. So stretching that right foot up towards the ceiling, strap around the arch, and then just kind of make a shoe shine back and forth. And just noticing what it feels like. And then eventually, let's see, come into stillness and pulling a little bit down on the strap. Again, like 25–30%. Not so much where you're like straining in your arm, not so much that your foot really has to strain to move. We just want to give a little bit of feedback to the ankle, give a little bit something to do. Nice. And then shimmying it up towards the balls of the toes. And same thing. Well, not same thing, but same thing on the other side. And pointing the toes up towards the ceiling. Noticing where you feel that. I love this. I feel like this is a stretch that so many of us don't get very often. And then doing the opposite and flexing the heel. Nice. And then taking that strap off, side of the strap, and we'll come up. So these next two can be pretty intense. I'm going to show you from the side what it looks like. So I'm going to come onto all fours and I'm going to tuck my toes under. And sometimes the pinky toe is like super elusive. So maybe even rolling the heels out a tiny bit, see if you can get the pinky toe tucked under. And then this might be a stretch for you. So I'm going to start to, if you want more and it doesn't feel like much, walking the hands back and coming to sit on my heels. So if your knees don't allow this, you can totally come up more, or you could put a blanket in between your thighs and your calves if that's helpful. So this is something that most of the time it feels like not a whole lot, and then it feels like something, and then it feels like a whole lot of something. So we won't stay here super long. Whew. I know, it's intense. Sometimes in yin, this is a yin pose, they have you hold this for 10 minutes. I've never made it. Let's come out. Taking the hands, so wrists right underneath the shoulders, knees right underneath the hips, laying the top of your feet on the ground, and then pressing the tops of your feet into the ground. See if you can hover your knees, just for like a little counter stretch. And then bringing it back down. And this next one, again, can be really, really tender. So, you know, exercise mindfulness. I'm going to take my left foot and put the top of the foot right in the arch of the right foot. And there's a place where it kind of fits really nicely. So this could be super intense already. So you may want to come up a little bit. You could even have the fingers on the ground. If it feels okay, we're going to start to shift our weight around a little bit. And again, this is intense. I just started doing this about a month ago, so it's still pretty intense for me. And coming out and switching sides. So this time we'll take the right foot is going to nestle right in the arch of the left, and then putting your weight back to your comfort. Hands can always stay on the ground. And then shifting the weight around a little bit. And just noticing what you feel, where you feel it most. And then coming out. So that is a quick foot care routine that you can do, you know, any portion of it, whenever you like. I always suggest doing some foot and ankle stuff like first thing in the morning. As soon as I get out of bed, rock into your toes, back to your heels, starting to stretch out. Just stretch out the feet, stretch out the ankles, wake them up. Yeah, so try it out. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you again soon. Namaste.